Hello everyone and welcome to Shelf Space. I'm your host Ross13 and today we are looking at something different. This is the Gannontoise from the Zoids Wild line. After being away from it for a while, I am slowly working my way back into doing Zoids. I used to be really into them back in the early 2000s and then fell off for them for a little while and got into Gunpla really heavy since then. But I got a really good deal on these, as I mentioned in my What I Got video, and I could not wait to get these and put it together. So we're starting off with this one, but first let's take a look at the box. Alright, so here we got very cool painted photograph of the Gannontoise. You can see the pilot figure right there, or you could if the focus didn't go out. Focus on here, not me. It's got some decals on here, which mine does not have. I'll get into that later. We got Zoids with what I believe says Zoids Wild underneath it. This is a new Zoids logo, and I kind of dig it actually. It says Gannontoise, not Cannontoise. Gannontoise. I don't know why they chose a G, but they did. This is ZW05, which indicates that this is the 5th in the Zoids Wild line. Takara Tomy, so not a Bandai product. And you're going to see a whole bunch of Japanese text on here. So on this side we have, let's see, is it focusing? Focus better, there we go. The same painted photograph over there. Zoids Wild, blah blah blah. Then over here we have, this looks like some battle story information, or at least information about the line itself. There's the Wild Liger, the Gannontoise, the Scorpion one, I can't remember. We got this alligator guy, raptor, and a bug one. Stag beetle, I think. Not stag beetle, that's Hercules beetle, but I can't remember what they called it. I've watched a few episodes of the show, at least the English dub. But I'm not an expert on things. And when I put this thing together, I didn't know anything about the show. So on the back, we have some information about how it kind of all goes together. And this is an interesting thing about it. It doesn't come on runners. It comes in bags, like a Lego set or something. And then you put it together. You have a skeleton. Then you put the armor on. And you can put the figure in and you can make things go move. Because that's the thing about Zoids, at least these type of Zoids. They are motorized. Got another cool shot there. Some more information. All this stuff is in Japanese. And yeah. Then this side we have some specs. Not that I can understand what any of them mean. Let's see, are you focusing? But if you read Japanese, I'm sure you can get a lot out of this. And yeah, that is enough of the box. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual figure. Wait, before we get into the actual figure, let's talk about the construction of this thing, because that's where things are a little wild on this. Here, this is the instruction book on this thing, which is pretty interesting in comparison to your usual model kit fare, because it is a booklet, but also you've got this section that just keeps flipping out like this. And you see they have all the parts laid out like this. And part of that is because, like I mentioned earlier, they don't put everything on runners. They're in bags, like a Lego kit. In fact, I think I have some pictures of it, so I'll put those around here. And it's an interesting way of doing things, particularly since Zoids originally were on runners. I should know, I built quite a few of them back in the day. And so here they show the motor and stuff like that. And it's very interesting because they have you build all the little mechanical bits that interconnect to everything. And then the way parts are held on that aren't snap fit but have to rotate around is you have these polycap things that stick on the posts and hold everything in place. And it's just a radical difference from how Gunpla is built. So it's been kind of a breath of fresh air. And here's the part where you see them putting the armor on the skeletal Zoid. All right. Now let's get an actual look at this figure. But he's not going to look quite like that. And here he is without any of his armor on. And as you can see, I have gone ahead and done a lot of paint work on this guy. I did some silver dry brushing, as well as some splatter effects on the feet and lower parts to just sort of give the feeling that this guy was walking through the mud. It just really felt like it needed this weathering. I don't know, just something called out about it, but it came out pretty nice. You can see the pilot figure here, which interesting thing about it is that it actually was clear originally, so I had to paint everything about it. Let's see if I can get to focus on that. Not the best job in the world, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Come on. And here is the neat thing about the Zoid. This right here is connected to a switch, which is connected to a motor inside all this. And if we pull on this, or is it, no, sorry, push, you can see it moves around, and it has little things that make it move and stuff in different ways. All right. And we can pull this down, lift this up, kind of push it forward a little bit. And there's a little notch right there. Now, so as it moves, it's now connected to this, and so we have this sort of piston action like the cannon is firing off. And really, the movement on this guy is very nice. It looks like a slowly plodding around turtle. I like how they make the head move up and down. The tail even moves a little bit. Just, it feels really cool. You can also see here that I did some dry brushing paint on the cannon to make it look like it's been, you know, firing off blast, so it's all covered in soot and burn marks and stuff. No idea what sort of artillery it fires, or if it's a beam weapon or something like that, but it seemed like the right thing to do. But let's go ahead and get the armor on this guy and see what he really looks like. Alright, and here he is all armored up and ready for battle. And as you can see, I did a lot of weathering and chipping and mud splatter and stuff like that on this, because it felt like it needed it. Part of me almost thought about doing a little bit more custom paint on it, but I did actually kind of like this sort of turquoisey green color. I'm not sure how well it comes out on the footage here, but it felt like it needed to be weathered, because this guy feels like he's a brutish tank-like thing, so he needed a brutish tank-like paint job. Just realized I don't know how much of that was in focus. But really, this is a fun kit to put together, and I think even without the paint, it looked pretty darn cool. But the paint and the panel lining and stuff like that really give it a little bit of something extra to go on. Now, this thing can still move, so let's show that off. Pretty cool, right? Slow potting movement. All the parts still move around. Something else I want to point out is look at that eye. Well, both its eyes, I should say. Has those piercing blue eyes. This is very unusual for Zoids, at least for me, because the original Zoids didn't have anything like this. If I remember correctly, the Bio Zoids from Zoids Genesis were kind of like that. In fact, actually, I thought the skeletal forms on this were very similar to the Bio Zoids in that series. But as far as I can tell, the two aren't necessarily interconnected. Now you can still open this up. You also have a opening hatch. Bump the camera. Right here. You can see I did a little bit of scraping here to make it look like that's open and closed a bunch. And if you want, you can still pull this down. And then these panels right here open up. And then you can slide this guy and get them into position. That's pretty cool. So this is sort of its attack form, or they have this concept called Wild Blast in Zoids Wild. I don't know if this configuration is connected to that. The instructions are all in Japanese, so I can't really read any of it. But this is certainly something you can do, and it's a neat effect. Go ahead and start closing this up. And this sort of pops into place. Oh, yep. You can easily activate the motor on this. He's got a battery compartment here. Oh, you can also see all the mud splatter effects and stuff. But you open it up and it takes a single AAA battery, which I had to dig around and find one because I didn't have any handy. I pulled it out of, I think it was one of my Super Sentai Morpher things. But yeah, I'm really digging this. Now, there is sort of the elephant in the room, or the elephander in the room, maybe, if you get Zoids. No? Anyway. The price on these guys. I got a pretty good deal on them, but they're still fairly expensive in comparison to Gunpla. But at least that's what I've been thinking. But there is something to be said about how much you are getting with the Zoid kit, because this is a hefty little thing. So we're going to add a little bit on to our comparisons. So first, let's take a look at, this is it next to an HG kit. So yeah, the HG stands a little bit taller, but there's also a lot more going on here. So my lovely wife let me borrow her kitchen scale so I can demonstrate something. So we got that all zeroed out. Let's put our HG kit there. Move the camera so you can actually see that. So we're looking at what? About a 1 1/4 ounces and about 0.036 or so kilograms. Take that off. 0. And now we put this on. So that is sitting at 0.207 kilograms and 7 1/4 ounces. So yeah, this guy is a lot heavier and has a lot more plastic in him. In fact, if you look at the plastic on this guy, the plastic is actually a lot thicker than it is on your standard HG kit. And just for grins and giggles, let's take a look at an MG kit. So put that down. Yeah, so that's at 4 1/4 ounces or 0.128 kilograms. So yeah, in comparison, at least with this guy, you're getting a little bit more than what you would get with a Gunpla kit. So maybe they don't necessarily stand as tall as a Gunpla, but I think you're getting your money's worth. Now, posability is a thing. Unlike the HMM kits from Kotobukiya, this does not have any posability. It's all linked together so that way you have the motor running for it. And if that's something that is a deal killer for you, it's going to be a deal killer for you. And I wouldn't necessarily blame you. Some people really like to pose their kits. I think it's fine without being able to put it in super dynamic poses. But, like I said, it's not for everybody. Personally, though, I would highly recommend this to anybody who likes building model kits, because this is something new and different if you've only built Gunpla. They are going to be a little bit more expensive, but you are getting a little bit more for what you pay for. So, yeah. That has pretty much been a review. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Check the description below for links to my storefront where you can get official shelf space t-shirts and more. And yeah, thank you again, and I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.